Hi, this is Ilse from Sydney again. In 2009, I posted a video how to tune the CONCERT ZITHER, which has by now had almost 35,000 views. It's now 2020, and because of COVID-19, I have some spare time, and I thought I update my video and list some different ways of tuning the CONCERT ZITHER. First, I will talk about electronic devices or aids. I always tune with an electronic chromatic tuner. This is the KORG digital tuner DT2. It came out, I think, in the late 80s, and I paid about $100 for my tuner. This is the tuner I used in my last video. I still have it and it works very well, but it's a bit bulky for traveling. The other thing you have to remember that you always turn it off, because otherwise you suddenly find yourself without battery. The next device I bought about 8 years ago. It's also a KORG. It's a clipon, which is often used by ukulele players or guitar players. It cost about $40. It has a little on-off switch in the back, and then you clip it onto your zither pin. It's a bit fiddly to use, but it's small and compact. The next one is the KORG CA1 tuner. I bought this one about 5 years ago for around $20. Electronic devices have really come down in price. With this tuner, I also bought this KORG contact mic. It has a plug on one end, a cable, and a clip-on mic. This plugs into your tuner, and then the mic clips onto a zither pin. This mic, through the cable, picks up the vibrations of the zither string, and it puts it directly into the tuner. It means that you can now tune in a noisy environment or where people are talking without affecting your tuning. And you can also use it in low light. Last year I attended a zither seminar in Switzerland where we played in groups. Many participants had this tuning device permanently next to their zither, and when there was a break in rehearsal, you could quickly check your tuning as the zither gets out of tune very quickly. The last electronic device I use is a free app on my smartphone. I use CLEARTUNE, but there are many other apps. Most of them are free. Now I'm going to show you some other ways of tuning the zither without any electronic devices. There's the old-fashioned tuning fork. That is A440. Now I first tune the fretboard strings, which are A, A, D, G, C. If I press the 7th fret on the D string, it is A. It's D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. So it's A. So I tune, these two have to be the same. I do the same with the 7th fret on the G string. That's the note D. And then the same with the C string. That's the note G. Now those notes aren't tuned. Now it comes to tuning the open accompaniment string. Naming and remembering seems a daunting task for a beginner. Their layout is actually quite intuitive. It's almost mathematical. And there's certain signposts and marker that help the eye to find your notes. First of all, I put my hand on the side. I need the thumb to play the fretboard string. Then my ring finger goes roughly to the middle of the zither or to the sound hole. And my marker is that red string, which is F, F15. Straight above is the C string, and then the G string. The zither is tuned in fifths. If you know a little bit of theory, you know that the scale goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and it starts again. So G is the 5th note after C, D, E, F, G. So that is C, and that note is G. I can check it with my fretboard string, and so I tune all the strings. The last strings are chromatic contrabass strings, which in the beginning you don't use a lot. Then when you've tuned about 10 or 12 strings, then you tune the chord strings. The first red string after the fretboard is F again. And like up there, the next string must be C. The next string is G. You can also tune from a piano. It's easy. Usually you might just maybe get one note, maybe the C, and then follow the same instructions as with the tuning fork. The last way of tuning is if you have no tuning aids whatsoever. If you are in a mountain hut just with chicken and sheep and goats and there's no tuning aid, you can still tune your instrument so that it's in tune with itself and it sounds pretty good. Select one of the thicker strings, maybe low C on the fretboard. The thick strings don't have much stretch and they don't get out of tune so easy. So you strike a string and maybe tighten it a bit, not too much. And if it's not too loose and rattles and you're happy with the sound, then you call that your C. Then you tune your fretboard strings. You put your finger again on the 7th fret with a G, and so you go. Again, your fretboard strings are in tune, and then you follow my advice as with the tuning forks.